Howdy everybody, and welcome back into another One Piece video. Today, we're here to yap about chapter 1171's full spoilers. In case you have not checked out the full spoilers for yourself though yet, make sure to go down to the pinned comment. It'll be sourced out to the two people who provided the spoilers, and it'll also be typed out piece by piece so you guys can follow along down there. So, with that being said, time to rip off the band-aid. We got another reader request as a cover page. Yes, that is right. This week we're witnessing a cat putting cat ears on Zoro. That's cool. I do think these are kind of adorable, but at the same time, can you blame a brother for wanting something canon again? I cannot wait to see what the next canon cover page story is going to be. And it's only a matter of time until Oda actually brings it to us. It's about that time, brother. He takes about 10 to 20 chapters to just, beat around the bush, have some fun with these reader requests. But it is around the corner, so be prepared for that. Any week now, we're going to start off with another canon storyline. So, on to the chapter now. We see that Gaban and Jarl are talking about Elbaf's devil fruit because they are impressed by its power. Jarl said he's never really heard much about the power, but he's thankful that Loki is here because without Loki's power, they wouldn't have been able to stop King Harald. And he says, it sends a shiver down my spine to think what would happen if Loki wasn't here. Shanks then has a little flashback. He recalls a moment between Harald and his father? Yes, that is right. Harald, up at Shangara, I believe, says, hey, Garling, the dawn of Elbaf will arrive once I join the ranks of you guys, the Knights of God. And then Garling, who is very buddy-buddy with Harald, he says, Harald, if there's anything you want, just say it. My poor child, what a chained life you must have lived. Forget all about the things below. Those who live down there are not human. I enjoy this. Okay, outside of me just being a Knight of God fan, I do like it when villain factions are tight-knit. It reminds me of like MHA with like the villain group. And then of course we have CP9 who, they seem like assholes on the outside, but deep down they really care about each other. Garling seems like that type of dude. Yes, he hates everybody. But if you are a Knight of God, you're his boy, man. So yeah, I really do enjoy seeing this side of Garling, even though it's for like a brief moment. And I'm not too sure why Shanks even recalls this moment specifically. Like, okay, Shanks, out of every flashback you could have had, you had that one. But after that flashback, Shanks does grab his arm because he still has the Mark of the Abyss at this point in time. And he's just angry at the Celestial Dragons, at Emu, and Gaban calms him down saying, hey, Shanks, eventually you will play a big role. Just wait a little bit, brother. And then we cut over to Loki and Harald, and Loki is sitting beside Harald's body. Very sad stuff. Of course, I still err towards the notion that the reason why nobody talks about what happened this day is out of respect for King Harald, right? King Harald wanted to be painted as a fool. He wanted Elbaf to go a completely different direction, to do a 180, but because that would end up dragging Harald's name through the mud, I'm assuming that is why nobody in this room really talks about what went down. So, we now cut over to Emu. He is having a conversation with the Gorosei, and we see that Emu is huffing and puffing. He is severely affected by King Harald's death. Emu says, dude, immortality, strength, ancient giant warrior. This guy was a spectacle, a monster, and somebody killed him. Who did it? Marcus Mars says, hey, Emu, let us dispatch a mission over to Elbaf. Using Harald's Abyss Circle, we can be there in a matter of seconds. Emu says, enough. Enough, you guys. That right there will just lead to more casualties among my knights. These covenants come at a heavy price for Mu. Yes, it looks like the Horcrux theory is slowly becoming true. In case you're not in the know, that was a theory a while back when we first met the Gorosei, where people are saying that Emu placed his soul onto multiple people, bestowing them powers. Yes, he's been bestowing them powers, but we didn't know how these powers' death affected Emu. And here we could see that when you do take down somebody with the Mark of the Abyss, with the Covenant, Emu is affected heavily. So we finally have our first real glimpse as to how to defeat the big bad villain of One Piece. And I'm just kind of wondering, but to what extent does this affect Emu? Like Shanks, for example. Shanks doesn't have a tier 2 mark. He only has tier 1. So when the Sea King ate Shanks' arm, was Emu also like huffing and puffing? Or no? Does this only work with tier 2 and tier 3, the Gorosei and the Knights of God? And then of course, another thing I'm currently wondering about is if you remove the mark from people, which we don't know how to yet, does that affect Emu too, or is that just like a net neutral? There's a lot of things about this, brother. But yes, we have finally found out the weakness of Emu. We just have to go around and kill every single Knight of God and Gorosei member to really bring them down to their knees, which I do think is really cool, right? It's the classic shonen thing where you go around, you beat all the subordinates, and then you fight the big bad villain. Like in Naruto, you fight everybody in the war, and then you fight Madara and Obito, right? It's like One Piece. You fight all the beast pirates, you fight Big Mom, and then you fight Kaido. That's just how these animes go, so I'm glad it's like an actual plot point now. We do have to beat these guys to get to the throne room. So, we see that Emu talks a little bit more about King Harald. He says, man, those giants, they are warmongers at their core. Mindlessly taking them in will only destroy us from the inside. We finally found a king of Elbaf from the ancient race of giants who would agree to partake in the covenant. A man too good to be real. He is a man that is better off never being born for Elbaf's sake. But Mu supposes that history never lies. We, the world government and King Harald, Elbaf, were never meant to work hand in hand. Never forget that Elbaf is D. Ominous stuff, man. So, of course, not surprising, but in the Void Century, there was more than likely a D-Clan member from Elbaf. Who is it? Well, we have no clue right now, brother. It could literally be anybody. It could be the royal family, could be a dead bloodline, or it could be people who once lived in Elbaf and then later left. So yeah, Emu's line here could really just mean a lot. You know, we're gonna have to see more translations. We're gonna have to see the actual chapter for ourselves to really make any fine point deductions. So we go down and we see that we're back at the Aurus Castle. Loki gathers up the guards who survived King Harald's onslaught. Yes, that's right. There are survivors apparently, which is pretty shocking. Because when we first came here, of course, it was kind of like propaganda. They were twisting the truth. But Rhoda was like, yep, everyone died in this castle. Not a single survivor was left standing. Here we have it. People did end up surviving. And what they did was that they ended up following Loki on a quest to avenge King Harald. Jarl tried to stop these guys, but of course, Loki and the boys didn't want to listen. That is where the flashback ends. So what happened to that revenge mission? Obviously, they were unsuccessful considering the fact that Emu and everybody else is still alive. But what went down? So there is I believe it's like an 8-year gap, right? He leaves Elbaf, there's 8 years, and then boom, Shanks beats Loki and then brings him back to Elbaf. I'm still assuming that Shanks did this to save Loki. Like, hey, Loki, you can't beat my father. You can't beat Shamrock. You can't beat Emu. Just stay in Elbaf until, you know, somebody else comes around, which is probably just Luffy. I think that's what happens, but 8 years is a long time. Like, was Loki actively attacking Marie-Ra? Was he simply attacking Knights of God as they left home? Was he looking for Galley-Ra? Right? I just don't know what those 8 years really look like. And I kind of wish Oda showed it to us. I wish he showed us the Shanks versus Loki portion, but it seems like he's still holding those cards pretty damn close to his chest. And I do wonder if we'll actually see that eventually. I think we will. Yeah. Post Elbaf, 100% we're getting that flashback. Because Luffy's surely gonna ask, hey Loki, what's up with you and Shanks? Like, I know you guys were like cool back in the day for a little bit during the day of your father's death, but what led to Shanks beating you? Did he actually beat you? Was it like a thing where it was mutual and there was no fight? Let me know the details, brother. We return to the present. That is right. We're starting 2026 off back in current day Elbaf. We see that after hearing about what happened that day, Hiredin apologizes to Loki. He releases him from the cuffs and he says, hey, even though I forgive you about our father's death, I still don't forgive you for the other things you've done, Loki. I can't go that far. Luffy, either way, is happy that Loki is finally released. And as they're all talking and yapping, we see that a Draugr, one of Killingham's nightmare monsters, falls from the Sun Realm. Kind of crazy that it survives, but then again, it's immortal. Loki tells everybody to just go on ahead because Loki can fly up there himself. And then we see Loki taking off his chains and he jumps towards the monster. We cut over to Gabon, who is now obviously on his way up alongside Chopper, and they run into Sanji. Sanji ends up carrying Gabon and Chopper, and Chopper's like, hey, Sanji, don't run too willy-nilly, you know, Gabon's wounds are gonna open back up. So this seems like Oda is trying to nerf Gabon a little bit, right? Because Gabon, man, he went out, he was about to beat Gunko, he whooped Saint Somers. Yeah, we have to incapacitate this guy for a little bit or else he'll solve too many of our problems. And I just love this matchup. Sanji and Gabon. Dude, Sanji is with his Roger Pirate Parallel, and I can only expect good things to come out of this. Hell, maybe Sanji gets some brand new named attacks. I think that's like wishing on a star, but who knows? And of course, Sanji, we saw that he asked Gabon if he had Conqueror's Haki. They had a conversation off screen. We didn't see what they talked about. So it's like, okay, maybe we'll finally tackle that. When we get Sanji fighting Saint Somers or fighting Killingham or whoever he fights, we will hear what went down, and maybe Scopper Gabon can coach Sanji if he has or doesn't have it. I think that would be freaking awesome. And just imagine what a fight would be like if Sanji does fight Saint Somers. Scopper knows that guy through and through, right? Hell, even during the Elbaf flashback, Scopper was like, oh, Saint Somers, huh? That takes me back. Bro, they fought multiple times. Like, imagine we get the Sanji-Somers matchup, and Scopper's like, hey, Sanji, Saint Somers has a really bad left arm. Hey, Sanji. So his attack, it takes a while to wind up. Make sure to hit him right there. Like, I don't know, dude. I think that'd just be a lot of fun. But gushing aside, we go back to Loki, and he charges towards the Draugr to attack it. Luffy is still by his side. Loki's like, wait, what the hell are you doing here? Luffy says, I just want to see you fight, brother. Loki says, fine then. Let's show him what you've got, Ragnar. Ragnar ends up growling, and then we see that Loki destroys the Draugr with a single blow. An attack called Niflheim, which means origin world. And of course, if you partake in Norse mythology, that is like the cold realm of Norse mythology. So it makes sense why this freezes the Draugr. And that is where the chapter ends off. So now comes the $1 million question. The freezing. Is it from Loki or is it from Ragnar? Based on the way the dialogue goes, I do think this is a Ragnar ability. Because he says, hey, let's show him what you've got, Ragnar. And then boom, freeze. I think Ragnar can do it. I have no idea what the hell Ragnar actually is. We talked about a mythical squirrel, a regular squirrel, a hammer that ate a fruit. There's a lot of things going on with this. I mean, hell, even in the Ratatoskr lore, it doesn't have ice abilities. But here we have it. We got the One Piece twist of it. And now I'm just wondering about the lightning. Is the lightning actually from Loki? Or is that a Ragnar ability? Like, it's so hard to tell. Like, okay, is this Loki's fruit or the squirrel's fruit? It is a mystery, brother. And then even with the flying, right? Loki said he could fly to catch up to everybody in the Sun Realm. Cool. Does he have wings? Is he a dragon? Or is he simply going to fly with Ragnar? Because, of course, we know that Oda likes to take inspiration from a lot of movies and universes. But in the MCU, Thor does fly with his hammer. So who's to say that Ragnar isn't the reason why Loki can fly? There's still a lot of things we do have to piece together. But of course, that is what makes One Piece so fun, because you never really know what Oda's gonna do, right? Well, you could see Oda going one way. He could do like a 180, man. But that is it for today, guys. Let me know what you thought about these full spoilers down below. I think this sounds like a phenomenal chapter. I'm ready to get back into the action, but of course, there is a break next week, so, you know, it will be quite some time before 1172 hits, but we saw this coming, right? The One Piece schedule was already released in advance, so we already knew that we, coming into 2026 would have a really wacky schedule, but this isn't wild, right? People are saying Oda has health issues or, something bad is happening. No. This is kind of just how it is every single year. The New Year's messes it up, Christmas messes it up, and then of course, like with all these breaks, WSJ takes breaks, and then Oda also takes breaks. There's a lot of breaks here, man. all we gotta do is be thankful that at least it's not a month-long break, right? And as far as how I look at it, the more time in between chapters means we have more time to speculate and simply have fun with the damn chapter. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think about this chapter down below. Again, of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way into the end. I really freaking appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time. Also, I will be coming back and reading through the comment section at a later date. So if you want your comment read, drop it down below, brother. But yes, I'll catch y'all later. Peace out. Stay safe, guys.